So we're going to move into something that ties into this, all of these things together, right? The challenges of moving in society, of becoming successful, of growing as a, as a society, that evolutionary change, that's this whole concept that we're coming back to, is that, for many of you, you left your home country. You left as immigrants, you came to the United States to find an opportunity for success. And people define success differently. Oftentimes in immigrant communities, especially in Asian immigrant communities, we define success, as we've heard mentioned in the panel, as academic success, financial success, and so this can cause a lot of stress, and it can cause a lot of strain also within the family. Because who's responsible for helping the family to become successful, right? So how do we as a faith community, though, go back to some of those cultural roots and some of our understandings, and how do those things help us to handle this stress of success as we move forward? So I'm going to let and there's no right, again, this is a dialogue, there's no right or wrong answer here. We want to just sort of talk about what that brings up for us. So I'm going to start with Jagdish Bhai, is that okay, or do you want me to start with?
No, that's okay. I'll start. I think I can start with this thing that success is very relative. In other words, success to me is something maybe not that far, but success to Shreya right next to me, she has very high goals, and she should, because she's younger than me. That's one thing. Okay, secondly, I think success again, for example, when I came to this country as a student, some success was in mind. I gotta get education. That I did. But when I came, of course, there was a lot of stress. In those days, we didn't know anybody except maybe one or two friends. And that too, we had to live in a dormitory. That's another thing. No food, home-cooked food from a family. So luckily there were some students in the school there before. They managed to teach the chef how to cook some Indian meals. So we were sat there. But then again, I feel that you can be more successful with good friends around you, even if you don't have a family around you. Good friends, good company will really guide you into something much higher goals. And I think for that I can tell all these younger generations to develop some good friendship. Just be together and enjoy each other's company, go to picnics together, go out of town together, go vacations together if you can. Like, for example, we go to vacation with my brothers and his family, and they always let us know why we are going to vacation, you will join us. So why is let it go? So, but this is how you should do it. Always take vacations with the family, with your friends, and you will really have a great time. And you will learn from them. Because many times in this society here, they get together on a Christmas time and maybe New Year's time and Thanksgiving, and that's it. They don't know each other very well. But I think you should know your immediate family, your uncles, aunts, and even people around here in this temple here. You people are doing great job in developing all that by Bal Gokulam. And I really congratulate all the Bal Gokulam kids as well as the teachers. I mean, I tell you, this is really amazing. And really, I think all the credit really starts with Hamsa and Kumar Dave. We started this Bal Gokulam way back in 1989 or something like that. And it's been going on very strongly. So I think we should continue that input from the adults into the kids, so the kids will be coming out much better than what we were.
A good plug for Bal Gokulam to help deal with stress. I think that's great. We're going to go back to that concept. Shiva, can I?
So I think the main reason that parents put this much stress on us is because, well, they came to this country wanting to start their new life, and they had to work twice as hard to get to where they are compared to what they did, because other people have grown up here and they had to work twice as hard. So they also expect that much from us. And I think that's the cause of the stress. But we deal with it through our Hindu faith by just the people, like you said, everyone here, we go on trips together as a community, we all just talk to each other. and we talk and we talk about our faith, and everything is connected like that, and that's how we deal with it.
Yeah, Shreya?
So I have honestly no idea all of the effort that my parents put in to get us here, and I know Shivam was saying that your parents expect the same out of you, like academic-wise, but honestly, all of my stress is literally all of my fault. My parents put very minimal stress on me academic-wise because they know I put that stress on myself, one, but they know I do strive to do the best that I can do. So, and of course success is measured in different ways. So I have success getting an A in my math test, which is obviously one form of success, but then there's long-term success. So most of that stress that we're supposedly given through our parents, especially in the Asian community, I would say that I honestly don't feel a lot of it.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Uma's looking like she wants to jump in, so I'm going to ask you to jump in.
So I agree with Shreya, and my parents don't really stress me a lot. And I barely have any stressors, but mostly they're academic and athletic stressors. And I handle with them by coming to Volunteerism, and I realize that my friends also deal with the same problems that I do. So I deal with my stressors by talking to my Hindu community and friends.
Priyeshya, I'm going to ask you to comment, and then I'm probably going to ask Ashok to comment after you. So.
Yeah, further to what Jagdish Uncle said is surround yourself with good friends and a good community around you. And most of us who emigrated to the US, or to any other country for that matter, we left our friends, our lives behind in the countries we grew up in, and we moved over here. And in my case, I was working full-time, studying full-time for the first 3 years, and didn't have the time to make new friends or socialize. But as I got to know people, I got involved with Kaulukulam, Gita Mando, and the temple. It really made my life more enriching. But there is that stress that when you move, you leave behind a lot of good things. So there are those stresses involved.
I agree with a lot of people when they say that their stresses, they think that it's their parents, but it's actually not really their parents because they're actually putting their stress on themselves. And I feel like they're also saying that because I know at my school, mostly the Asian community, they like to kind of compete against each other in academics, just like people like to do in like sports and other things. And they see like if one person's like excelling at one thing and then they don't do as well as someone else, then they'll like make fun sometimes or tease someone else about doing that. But and so then the person that didn't do as well that time has a little bit of stress from that, and so then they also expect like their parents to, like, let's say you get like a low A or a B, you expect your
The definition of success.
you expect your parents to not be that happy if you get like a B or whatever, and so then you take it out on yourself, and then like when you come home, they're actually like comforting and things like that.
As just to say something to the younger generation too, as you come out of high school, go to college, and from college into the professional world, there is a schema associated with the South Asian community. Everybody thinks that, we are all geniuses. And when you go into the workplace, everybody looks up to you as a genius and expects you to have all the answers. So that stress is always going to be there. So.
Interesting. That's interesting. So it carries forward. Do you have I guess either Madhuji or Suvarnaji, if you want to speak to that? Maybe.
So by definition for me, an immigrant means someone who's willing to take a risk, uproot the tree from where it is and willing to plant at some other location, whether it's cross country or some, take a farming family from Indiana and planting their tree in New York. It's the same thing for me. And by definition, that person has a dream, has the resilience, and has the toughness required to succeed. And I personally think those are excellent qualities, because then you have the freedom to kind of define the goal and success. What that means, it could be a spiritual goal, because whatever that definition is, you require the tenacity, you require the strength and resilience to succeed. And that stress is self-created. I mean, I could be average person if I wanted to. I just don't want to be an average person. And so that's my choice. And, when we talk about, I think where we probably sometimes stress our kids by our own behavior, not by telling them, because they have these expectations to, like, oh my gosh, these kind of are constantly hardworking, people, and I don't want to work hard, I just want to be a truck driver. And an Indian parent says, what? You want to be a truck driver, right? And so I think it's again coming back to allowing people to do what they want to do. If you don't want a certain lifestyle, it's okay to be an average person.
Rishma, what do you think about that? What is the comment that you would make to that?
Tying that into what we were talking about, academic stresses, my dad doesn't really put that much academic stress on me because he knows that I put that on myself anyways. But like you were saying, those qualities are important to building a better life for yourself wherever you choose for that to be. So I think he's pushed me into activities or that cause two stresses for me to become a better person, develop like work ethic, grit, resilience, being able to converse with people, understanding different viewpoints, things like that. I think those are the types of stresses that I've been faced with, and I think those are definitely positive stresses.
So like, I feel like everybody thinks that like stress is a bad thing, and it can be, but if you have too much. But then like, if you're having stress over like academics and doing well and things like that, I feel like later on, once you understand how to deal with that, you won't, like, you'll have a better work ethic, because then you know that like, if you don't do as well in the workforce, you might like have a bad like lifestyle.
So what about the value? Like for us as a temple community, we talk about the different stressors that we have, that we experience coming as immigrants, as children of immigrants, but how does the value system that you guys have all kind of worked with influence how you deal with, like you said, stress can be good or bad. Stress can be dealt with in a positive or negative way. Are there things that we do as a community that are helpful, and are there things that we sometimes do as a community that are not so helpful? And that's an honest thing, because nothing is 100% perfect. So it's okay to kind of, So I'm gonna throw that to Madhuji first.
Like, since both are working, there is some stress because you cannot finish your jobs in time and stuff, But there's no choice, that's going to stay. Both will be keep on working. So then, the only thing is, I'll say, is a change in mentality. Start thinking differently, how to solve this problem. So one thing is, if family works together, helping in everything, like with love and care, things can be easier. And they can definitely achieve the goals, less stress. And if they work together, another thing is they'll talk to each other. They will learn what other person wants. So if one person is sick or something, they know exactly what other person needs. So all these things helps in the stress.
Anybody else want to carry that forward? Yeah.
Your question is about how our values and our culture helps us. Is that correct?
Helps us or doesn't help us.
Yes. So Indians by definition, you look around and you see one Indian with some other Indian or in a group, because we are just by nature social, and that's our biggest de-stressor, for most people. And there are some people who don't like many people. But for us, our culture has taught us to be together. So just by being with each other, and no matter how many times a day we meet the same person, I can guarantee you, an Indian finds something to talk. Even if you met someone an hour ago, and you'll still chat for an hour, because that's how we de-stress, and that's a fun thing for us, for some observer, it might be like, oh my gosh, that's so stressful. These guys talk so much. But it's you know, so that's kind of, to me, part of culture. The part of the values is our religion tells us that ultimately all material pursuit is not the goal of life. And that's where we know when to put break. At a different stage in life, I mean, if I'm 20-year-old and I am like, really don't even have money to pay for an apartment, then I'm going to continue to earn no matter how stressed I am. But if I'm 50, then I know that my ultimate goal is not to be a billionaire. My ultimate goal is that spiritual liberation, and that's what gives that peace and brings a different kind of perspective in life. I think that's where our values really come into play, that you're not in pursuit of something where there is no end.
Uma, Shiva, anybody, Rishma, anybody want to pick up on that?
With values, I think one thing that I believe that's sort of like guided me through a lot of the experiences I've had is everything happens for a reason and everything is a learning experience. So every stressor I've had, everything that's gone wrong in my life, you can take that and build upon it. So if something goes wrong, I know what not to do next time. Or like, I'm not going to take negative things as, oh, that went horribly, I'm never going to do this again. I'm going to come back at it, try it from a different angle, a different perspective.
So something that our community definitely stresses is seva and volunteering, and that's definitely one of the things that I use as one of my de-stressors. So I love to volunteer. I volunteer anywhere I can, and that's definitely helped me let go of my academic problems just for that hour or so, but that's still enough to rethink and re-put yourself together.
Yeah, it like gives you a sense of the bigger picture.
Uma, you want to add to that at all?
I mean, I agree with everybody. Usually, when I come to the mandir, we have like a lot of festivals. For example, the Diwali festival and then Holi. And so I have fun here, and that's a very good de-stressor for me.
Anything you want to add?
For me, the de-stressor is my friends. I've known everyone in my Balagokam class. I've known them for more than half of my life. So I associate my culture with them, and it's that just hanging out with them and going to class and learning everything and with them is a part of the de-stressor.
That's great. Jagdish, any last comments on?
I think that again I can emphasize, just like Shivam said, that de-stressor is nothing but togetherness. And the more you are gathered, then you do really, stim out your frustrations and maybe talk to your friends really one-to-one, or maybe 10-to-1 sometimes. Or like we said that when we are leaving from a party, it's always like we go so far and then we gotta meet somebody, and we talk maybe 10 minutes there. And then on the way out, we meet somebody else, or another half an hour. By the time we go out,
2 hours.
I'm the only one talking to myself. So I think, but in reality, I think we should try to do as much as together, like kids are doing. And I think that again, I want to emphasize, Bal Gokulam is a tremendous forum for the temple. And we are really happy that we could build something like this to really give it to the whole community, where they all can benefit from it and enjoy it for years to come. So with that, I can say the good luck to everybody, and how you guys good success in life, and more than what we have achieved, more than what we can never do. Think about higher goals, but don't get stressed out, that's all.
Any last comments? I want to just give anybody a chance that wants to make a last comment.
I just want to expound on what Javi Shankar just said. Doing seva or service to others gives you a sense of accomplishment. Doing something for others always triggers certain, things in your brain that just help you, just make you feel good. And we're celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi once said that the only way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So that's something I want to share.
I would like to
Yeah, go
add
ahead.
on, sorry. I have a shloka that embodies what this topic is about.
That sounds good, because we can end with a lovely shloka. If you want to end with that, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Karmanyeva vikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangostva akarmani.
Can you give us a translation of that, please?
So this shloka means don't focus on the fruits in life and just focus on what you can do.
For others, yes, that's beautiful. I love that. That's fantastic. I know the audience, there were some perhaps questions that audience members would like to ask. We only